From The Reporter, the paper of record for Delaware County's towns and villages, this is Off the Record, a quick look at the latest county news. I'm Andrew Kantor. This week, we've got a shorter podcast than usual. There just isn't a lot of big news happening. So we're going to do the bigger stories first, and then I'll give you some quick updates on what else is happening around the county. And by the way, both our podcast writer and producer are going to be out next week for knee replacement surgery, so there's not going to be a podcast on July 25th. All that said, let's get to it. We'll start with Delaware County supervisors are still fighting the towns and villages they're supposed to be representing. They're refusing to share sales tax revenue. It's something village mayors have been pushing for more than a year now. Only 2 counties in the state don't share tax revenue with the villages and towns. Delaware's one of them. So you know what the supervisors are suggesting? They want to push the tourism industry. The problem with that is you can have 1 million tourists spending money in a village, but the village doesn't get a cent of it. All the sales tax goes to the county. And by the way, Delaware County is looking at another year of record sales tax revenue. Perish the thought they should share any of that with the places that actually collect it. One of the excuses the county is now making for not sharing sales tax revenue is that supervisors are hoping to move $1 million from the sales tax coffers to cover prescription reimbursements for county employees. It seems that a lot of those employees have started taking semaglutide or tirzepatide. That's Ozempic or Zepbound to you and me. They're doing it for weight loss, and that stuff is expensive now, especially since compounded versions are a lot harder to come by. So, the $300,000 the county had allocated for prescriptions, that was for the entire year. That's already gone. So supervisors are looking to spend another $500,000 through the end of the year, maybe more. Not too long ago, Village of Walton trustees passed a law allowing ATVs and UTVs on village streets. But the town of Walton Council hasn't passed the law, and that's been a little confusing for people. Timmy Fay, who's hoping to establish an ATV club, asked the Walton Town Council members why they hadn't passed a similar law, and they told him they'd consider it, but probably no. Why not? Because, they say, state law doesn't allow ATVs and UTVs on municipal roads without a bunch of restrictions. One thing that would help is if there were 2 official trailheads separated by a road. And the word official is key here. It can't just be getting permission from a landowner. There has to be an actual club and actual trails, and this being America, there has to be insurance too. Now, Timmy Fay, he's working on that, but the council members say they'd consider opening some town roads to ATVs and UTVs once he has all his ducks in a row. All right, this one you might have to go to the paper to get details because there's too much info. Basically, 7 teachers in Margaretville are going to be offering week-long programs for middle and high school kids to get them off the streets and, enrich them or something. Mostly get them off the streets. There's hiking, there's reading, there's pickleball. Yeah, for kids. Pickleball, tennis, robotics programming, and even fun stuff like college essay writing and AP European history. The problem is each of the courses has different contact info, so you're going to need to check the paper. That's the-reporter.net. Or you might be able to call Margaretville Central Schools, see if they have contact info for the teachers doing the courses. The number there is, write this down, 845-586-2647. And you can ask them exactly what courses are available, who's teaching them, and which weeks they're being held. And here's some other stuff going on around Delaware County. Colchester, it's going to begin milling and blacktopping a bunch of roads. The whole process should take 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, and this time the DOT is going to use a different process to compact the materials. This way residents won't be bothered by all the heavy machinery. They're hoping it'll all be done by the time the Delaware County Fair comes around. A big congrats to the town of Walton. It just got confirmation from New York State that the town's equalization rate is at 100%, full market value. In other words, for those of us who don't think about these things, it means that on average, the assessed value of properties in the town matches their market values. Now, some individual properties, they might be a little off, but on average, it works out. The Fleischmann's Municipal Pool will be opening this year, even if it's a bit late. What was the problem? Finding lifeguards. And of course, it wouldn't be Delaware County in the summer if we didn't talk about manure. In this case, you should check out a story in the paper about a new manure injection technology. It was demonstrated by the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Basically, by injecting the stuff under the soil, you reduce runoff and you protect ponds and waterways because you use less of the stuff. It's also supposed to reduce the smell, but on a personal note, as someone whose fields had manure injected this year, it really doesn't make much of a difference. And that's it for this week's Off the Record, but there's plenty more in the Reporter, in print or online at the-reporter.net. Hey, it's your local paper. You really ought to subscribe just to keep up with what's going on. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Enjoy yourselves in the meantime, and as always, thanks for being here.